It's James here. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a mini research skill building project that's connected to our main unit of inquiry inside XFocus. So let me introduce the project for you and we'll see how it works. So for this example, we're going to use Explorers, a classic unit of inquiry. And we can see here that there are 3 projects on the go, just as an example. We've got a group project here and then 2 solo projects. And we could have as many projects as we need for our class, but we've just got these 3 as our example. Now we've got these projects here, and if I click project phases, then this is instantly going to map those projects out depending on where they are. And these are going to be based on the stages of the cycle that I have created and put into XFocus. So for this unit, I really want to focus on how they curate a range of resources. That's our key skill that we're working on. So I've set up a nice simple framework where they're just going to plan, curate, and then once they've done that and I've checked in with them and we've done a bit of whole class reflection and consolidation, they can then move on to capture, or they'll make notes and then create an artifact about it and then finally reflect on the whole process. So let's have a look into one of these projects. Let's go into Christopher Columbus. So this Christopher Columbus project is in the planning stage, whereas the other 2 are in the curate stage. So let's go in and have a look at what that looks like. So we can see here, if I move me slightly, that this one is in the planning stage and they need to do these 2 things. Now I've put these checklists tasks inside the app so that anyone in the stage has to complete these before they move on to the next stage. This means that students can be self-paced and move through the projects at their own pace, but I know that there's some guardrails in place to keep things organized. So at this stage, they need to choose a line of inquiry from the main unit and add it into XFocus, and then add at least 1 research question to that line of inquiry. That's going to frame how they go find the resources, but there's an element of choice in there. They are choosing their question, but it's still connected to our main unit of inquiry. So if you notice as well, up on this left-hand side here, there are no other options in the app. Okay, XFocus has tons of things, right? It's got notes, it's got meetings, calendars, task boards, all sorts. But I've turned them off at this stage because that's not the focus of this task. The focus is to help with their research skills. So in here then, they need to choose a line of inquiry from the main unit and add it into XFocus. So we go down here, we can see there's a space here for them to add their lines of inquiry. So the discoveries of exploration, they've chosen that from the unit. And then underneath it, they've added some questions of their own. So these questions are connected to the line of inquiry. And why do people think he discovered America? What did he actually discover? They can add as many questions as they like, but this group have done it. They've added their research questions in. They've added their line of inquiry. So they've done that one there. They can check that off and they can check that one off. And now they can enable the curate phase. So I'm going to move my head so you can see this bit here. When they do that and enable curate, then resources have popped up, because what they need to do at this stage is create a range of resources to answer your question. So that's what they're going to be working. They come into resources here, and you can see this group has not added any project resources yet because they've just moved to that now. But they can access the class resources. So the teacher at any point can add in a class resource and it will show up in any project, even if it's already started. So we've got some ATL and Learner Profile posters, an Explorer unit planner, so they can access that. They can just visit those right here. No issues with sharing on inboxes, and all that sort of stuff. So they would start adding in those resources here. They'd add them in. They'd give it a type. So we're thinking about a range of resources, right? And they can associate it with their line of inquiry or specifically their questions. They can actually tag a resource with the question so that it's connected up, and that helps later on with note taking. Let's come back out of this project and let's have a look back our overview. Now we can see, look, this is updated to show that this is now in the curate phase as well, automatically. So I can keep a nice overview. This will all update live. I can see all of the projects where they are, and then I can zoom in and have a look at any project. If I then go, so I've got everyone in curate, and this is my main thing that I'm working on, right? So I come into here, let's go into finding out. And so what this is doing now is this is taking all of the questions, all the lines of inquiry, all the resources from across the projects and showing me on this. So I would put this up on the big screen. I would have this up and then I would be showing them. So, all right, guys, we've got these questions. We can look at these questions. These are really interesting and so on. And then I'm going to go into resources. So our key thing is that we've got a range of resources. So now I can ask the kids, all right, let's look at our class. all the resources we've added into the app so far, do we have a nice range? Let's have a look. So we've got this one, school survey, and that's linked to the different points of view. Is that a good resource to help us find points of view? Yes, it's all based on perspective. We can find out people's opinions on the survey. And then I can click this one and it would open it directly here. We've got a podcast, which is Age of Exploration podcast, or Explore, and we can click that. It's going to open up directly that resource so we can go in and have a look. We can analyze it. Okay, is this any good? Is this helpful? And so on. So once we've kind of looked at that, we've created, do we have a range of resources? We can then set the students back off into their projects. So I'll go back in here. There they are. And then let's go into that different perspectives project that we have there. So they've got a range. Are they happy with their range of resources? We've collected it as a group. We've talked about it. Maybe they want to add a few more. They've got a survey. Maybe they want to add some other ones in. When they do, they would tick that off, and then they would go into capture. And then in capture, we've also got this new section that pops up, which then allows them to come in here and start adding. There I am again. Hello. And then start adding notes. So they can start adding notes to those resources. They can add notes to those questions. And again, we can collect them all together and work through. And they can go through this stage, gradually unlocking more elements of the app that I've put in. So now they're able to, or later on, they'll be able to reflect. There'll be an inbuilt journal that can help them reflect on what they learned and their skills they've developed over the time. So that's how it looks like from the student point of view. So let me show you how we do that inside XFocus. So let's come back out here and we'll go to the settings page. And here we are. So in the settings page, we've got our AI features that can be turned on and off. And we've also got templates. And I've got loads that I've made. And all I did was go create template. We have some master templates in the app as well that you can use to give you a start point. I built mine from scratch. I'm going to show you what it looks like on the back end here. So I've got the title. In here, we can tag the ATL learner profile to make sure that those things pop up when they reflect or add artifacts into the app. And then the features and labels. It's here we've got full control over what features are going to be available throughout the whole project and change the language if need be. So instead of questions, Montessori might have essential questions or PBL driving questions and so on. We want them to be lines of inquiry, so I've added that in there. If we start having concepts linked to it, we might have specified concepts and so on. And this is where the fun part happens. So the stages, I've created the stages myself. We can give them a little description if we like. But here is where I have said that I want these features to be available during that stage. And then I've set the tasks here. And you can toggle on and off whether they're required or not to get through to the next stage. And you can add as many checklist tasks as you like in there. And then you work through the app, work through this page. And then when you're happy, you just update the template. Now, the great thing is that even after the projects have started, if you come in and make a change in this template, it will affect those changes and apply it to all those projects straight away. So there you go. There's one way that you can use project templates to isolate a skill and build it while still keeping everything connected to our units and also still being able to have a full overview of everything in one place. Okay, there's so much more to explore and do, and join me on another video and I'll be exploring some different ways we can use XFocus to build skills, build capacity, and build student agency in our classrooms. All right, see you soon. Bye-bye. XFocus is available widely very soon, but you can jump the queue by adding your name to the waitlist and then booking in for a demo with me. See you guys soon.